everybody, and welcome to the Lunacy Podcast. My name is Tony. I'm here with Dave Sterling and our new addition to our show, Dave Stevens, who was on the show last week, and we decided to keep him on because we like him. And we actually had a lot of people, you know, on Twitter and social media saying they like Dave, right? Right, Dave?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot.
I think it's out of... Well, I don't really know which Dave you're talking about.
The other Dave.
I'm assuming it's... Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be Pity, though.
Yeah, a little bit. So, but we actually decided to keep Dave on because Dave's kind of going to be our stat guy and going to chime in a little bit. It's really hard to look up stats and look up things when we're trying to talk about stuff. And Dave actually last week was really good about getting us information. So we decided, hey, what the heck, we'll add another person to the show and make it more interesting. Yep. So today we are at Steel Toe Brewing in St. Louis Park, enjoying some of their fine beers. Dave and Dave each have the... Was it the...
It's the Provider.
The Provider, which is it's a Golden Ale.
Yep.
And it's kind of their mainstay. Really good stuff. I have their Brewers Series Pilsner, which is fantastic. Steel Toe has been around, I think, for about, 5 years now. And they've expanded their outfit out here. They used to be just a small little brewery. Not really many places to sit. They've now expanded. They have an extra room. They have outdoor seating now, which... We're sitting in to do this podcast, so they're located in St. Louis Park, right off 100. It's not that far from downtown, so it's a nice little brewery.
Yeah, I actually used to work in an office building that's, 2 blocks from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish this place existed then.
Well, I mean, Dave Stevens knows this. We lived in Northeast Minneapolis for how many years? Like 3 to 5 years?
4 years.
4 years. And that was right before the craft beer explosion. So when we moved out, and then all of a sudden Dangerous Man comes in. And we're like, what the hell? Think of all these places we could have gone to back in the day.
We got out of there just in time.
Dude, man, think of the places we could have gone back in the day. It would be great.
Yeah.
Now we're stuck driving these places. Yeah, we don't mind. So, like we said on previous podcasts, we're going to try to do a new brewery when we do this podcast every 2 weeks. We've done Omni now. We've done now Steel Toe here. We'll try to get some other places around the West Metro, hopefully. And if push comes to shove, there's always my garage, which has been fine, or Dave's basement, which was fine in the first podcast. So let's get into talking about the last 2 matches since we were on the air last. The first match was against San Jose. That was a victory. Was it not a victory? I thought
San Jose was really bad. San Jose was the really bad game.
Oh, San Jose was the bad game. That's right. The one before that was
L.A. We lost, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I think ultimately anybody that thought we were going to win the game against L.A. was completely delusional. They were second in the league at that time. We were third from the bottom. Second in the conference.
Yeah.
We were third from the bottom. We talked about it on the podcast before, they have some great players, really good quality, and, just going in, midweek game, short rest, not really having all our pieces due to injury, due to suspension. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think anyone thought we were going to win that game. No. And, coming out the way we did, I thought, I was expecting it to be, I think my estimate was, it's going to be 3-0 at half. It was 2-0 at half.
Yeah, you did say, I remember you saying it was going to be 3-0 at half, and I recall saying, I don't know if it's going to be that bad, but it was 2-0 at half. So.
Yeah. They did it for me, I think in terms of the matchup, I mean, on paper alone, when you look at goals scored, goals allowed, it should have been 2-0.
Yeah.
And the outcome should have been. And so, for me, at that point, LA had allowed a goal and a half a game, but we only scored 1.3 goals a game. So, maybe we might have scored a goal. And at that point, we had been allowing 2 goals a game, and LA was scoring 2.4 goals a game. So, very clearly, just simply on paper, it should have been 2-0, maybe 2-1.
Well,
and,
looking at the match stats, which Dave has given me, they had 29 shots. 29 shots to our 7. Yeah. They had 7 shots on goal to our 3. I mean, this could have been a lot worse than it actually was.
It could have been, and it's been kind of our entire season has been kind of luck, where we end up facing opponents who can't finish.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I take away from that game, which we'll probably discuss more, is our captain made the two egregious errors that cost us it.
Well, let me preface that by saying, while these games were going on, you pretty much texted and said, Calvo he shouldn't be in the game. I mean, he shouldn't be on this team anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and I hate to say that because I think he's a good guy. He likes the Twin Cities. He likes the team. And I think he's got some very good talent. He doesn't play center back per se for Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. He plays the left side of the center back in a 5-man line.
Okay.
So he's much more of a left back for Costa Rica. When he played at Saprissa prior to coming to Minnesota, he was a left back. So his skill set is designed for a left back. He's a finesse player. He's very good on the ball. Mm-hmm. And he's not exactly someone who's going to step up and challenge a player, in the air. And obviously a center back has to be able to do that.
Yeah.
He's pretty good with his feet. We've seen it,
Hold on. He's good with his feet. Now, there was a play on the back line there where he wasn't good with his feet at all. And I think what he was trying to do is he's trying to make sure they didn't get a corner kick on it. But at that point, who gives a shit? He should have just kicked it out of bounds and gave him the corner kick.
Yeah, that was the San Jose game.
Okay, yeah.
And I wanted to bring that up. So let's come back to that one.
Right.
Because, he is generally good with his feet.
Yeah.
There was a game last season where he brought the ball into the box and he managed to do a 360 around a guy and put the ball in for a perfect pass. Mm-hmm. I don't think we scored on that, but it's phenomenal. And he can do that stuff. He does it on a regular basis. He's very good moving forward, but that's not a good quality in a center back.
Yeah.
Unless you have a 5-man line, you can get away with that a little bit. That's not how Adrian Heath wants to work, and honestly, I don't think a 5-man line is a good fit for us anyway. And so, he had the terrible error that went off the post, and then he had another terrible error that ended in a goal, and then another terrible error that ended in a goal. So he was responsible for literally all the scoring.
All the scoring, yeah.
All the close chances he was responsible for. Mm-hmm. I mean, giving up a header to a guy that's 5'6".
Yeah, that play was a bad play too.
I mean, it's just
you should be able to out-muscle the guy.
Yeah, and I think people have said he's going to the World Cup. He's probably watching himself. He's probably trying to be careful. Mm-hmm. I get that. I understand what he's trying to do, but that's not how you're supposed to play a game.
No.
You take your chance, and if you get hurt, then you get hurt. That's the way shit goes.
You're playing for United right now. You're not playing for your national team right now.
May 29th, when you head off to play with Costa Rica, that's when you start playing for Costa Rica.
Exactly. So we pretty much can we blame both losses then on Calvo? Or were there other guys who kind of were not doing what they're supposed to do in the last two games?
Well, you can blame basically all the goals on Calvo. But at the same time, your defense allows goals. You should be able to score.
You should be able to, yes.
The San Jose game was incredibly frustrating because we had, I don't know how many shots that were just kind of like errant. Mm-hmm. God knows where they're going. Alexi Gomez had 2 of his own. I know Ibsen had for sure one where they just got him over the goal, and it wasn't even close.
Got a little too excited.
Yeah, and it's like those are the types of decisions that you don't want your attacking players. First off, Ibsen isn't an attacking player; he shouldn't even be down there, in my opinion. But you don't want your players making those shots because they're incredibly low percentage to begin with. Mm-hmm. So put the ball in the box if you think you've got a shot, or if it's open, just put the ball in and see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't take a shot from 30 yards out and pray to God it goes in. And that's basically what the entire last 20 minutes of the San Jose game was.
But do you think that's because of... Well, Ramirez has been out... What? Ramirez was out last game, right?
Ramirez was back in last game.
Okay, but he was out the game
for
previous.
LA, yeah.
Okay, so you think that game was because Ramirez was not there, they were taking some shots they normally wouldn't take because they don't have their finisher in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. Ramirez's role in the team has changed considerably this year. I don't know that it's by design necessarily, but for whatever reason, he's kind of become that cog in the entire attack where the ball gets placed to him and everyone pushes and rotates around him.
Yeah.
And so whether or not he puts the goal on frame isn't really an issue this year because it's just kind of helped the attack focus. And with in LA we had no forward.
No.
So I think that's a big issue there for why we were kind of just not doing anything. Now with San Jose, I think a lot of those shots are more in recognition of they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's toward the end of the game, and they're just getting desperate.
Sure.
I see Dave provided me the Audi index for
the
San Jose game. And now some people don't like the Audi index. I like the Audi index. Francisco Calvo had a negative 409. And now some people don't like the Audi index because it's kind of arbitrary scoring.
Yeah.
But I think if you click on the players and actually see their stats, it's actually pretty incredible breakdown of what they're doing. Whether the points, that they end up getting in the end, whatever. But if you have a negative 409,
that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. I mean, if you look at the team of the week, that's how they decide the team of the week, player of the week is with the Audi index. I think the team of the week guys are usually around, I'd say like 500 and up. So he was almost negative the score that you'd be for
So he'd be like the
top player.
He'd be in the worst team of the week. So if they did a worst team of the week, he'd be in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I did this. I went through, and I didn't note, which was stupid of me. I went through and I averaged out his Audi index for the season, and he's actually not doing that badly.
Okay.
Well, that was before that game. It was his score was like 395 or something like that.
Right.
And I'm not going to go through the entire league and try to figure out the average Audi index. And I bet maybe somebody that has cool press credentials has that data.
Somebody's got it.
Yeah, but I would think based on what I've seen from the team of the week data, 390s, that's a pretty solid middle ground.
Okay.
So he's been doing fine until San Jose. But he has these mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, even the LA game, his score was actually, he was one of the top defenders in the game.
Okay.
Based on the Audi index.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the stats calculated into it, you could see he did very well, except he had 2 massive glaring errors. Mm-hmm. So, he would have probably been team of the week had he not made those errors.
Yeah, so he's at 456.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
And, I think it's one of those things where we have to, as a fan base, going back to the conversation we've had on almost every podcast, trust the process of what's going on.
Well, and you're saying, and your point was, maybe he's playing a little bit back because of the fact that he is going into the national team here.
Right.
And so that's why he's playing that way. So what, he's going to the national team on, May 29th?
I think it's, 29th.
Okay, so we have a couple more weeks of him, and then he's out.
Right, for at least a month.
At least a month. So maybe when he comes back, he'll be better. And maybe this is just a blip. Maybe this is just
Exactly.
I'm going to the national team. I don't want to get injured. I just want to play out the string here and just be done with it.